Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Haskin, here with a fan-based podcast endorsed by the band, and we are on the album Return to Fantasy, Season 8. This is the band's 8th album in like 6 years. Just insane, and they're touring through all this, auditioning members. It's just the work pace is so hectic. It's amazing when you think about it, some of the work that this band turned out at that time. I don't know about them or anyone else really, but I find a lot of times when I'm under pressure, like if I have a contract or something that I have to write for, I tend to write some of my best stuff that way. So I don't know if it was maybe, hey, we got a writing session, let's just get in the zone, and they found a way to do it and just made some amazing music. I don't know. But whatever it was, the music is amazing. You can't argue that. And if you want to, that's fine. You're not going to argue it with me because I don't care. So this song, Shady Lady, was written by Ken Hensley, Mick Box, David Byron, and Lee Kerslake. Of course, the only person not credited was John Wetton, their new bass player and singer. However, you know, it kind of makes sense to me if you think about it. While they were auditioning people, they've got the studio there. They're all together. The equipment's in the room. They're probably going to be doing some jam sessions here and there. Maybe even while they're auditioning people, they're jamming and coming up with ideas. It wouldn't be a bad idea to see how someone gels, not just playing songs that you've written that they already know, but kind of testing how they work as writers, how they work, just as spontaneous musicians. Because let's face it, being able to play the songs that are in the back catalog is an important component. But it's only one component and probably not the most important, because you can learn the songs. You can learn how to play the old songs. What's going to be important is what you do now and going forward, how you gel with the band, how you write, how you jam, how you whether you're generous or trying to hog the spotlight, all those things that come into whether a member's really going to work with the band or not. So while I don't know if that was the case with this particular song, it would certainly make sense that while they were auditioning people and going through that process, they would have been writing some songs anyway, whether it was on purpose or whether it just happened from jam sessions or whatever, I don't know. But it certainly makes sense that John wouldn't be a credit on all of the songs, but that's nothing against him. They were probably being worked out while that process was happening. So I would still say, though, that anybody that's on a track or has anything to do with the production of the track probably still would deserve some credit for making their own part. Maybe they weren't part of the development of the song, but certainly how their part was played, they were very likely to be, especially when you're talking about guys like these that are just all at the top of their game, just all fantastic, creative, great performing musicians. So Shady Lady is a great song. It is the second on the Return to Fantasy album. On this deluxe CD edition I am working off of, there is only one version, and that we are going to listen to right now. Here is Shady Lady from Return to Fantasy. Geez, well, this one just explodes pretty quick, doesn't it? Very interesting introduction. It kind of just sums up the band, going from heavy to a little bit more dramatic, then heavy, and then a little more dramatic. This album seems a lot more progressive than some of the other stuff that we've heard on the last couple of albums. So it's kind of nice to bring that back a little bit. But I love the off-timing feel of it. I love the sounds that are coming from the guitar in both of those parts. Very nice, very lovely. Drums sound really fantastic on this album. I said it on Return to Fantasy, and I'll say it again. Probably the best drum mix so far on any of the Uriah Heep albums that we've covered. And I really like that they're crisp and they're very much in the mix. You can really feel them, whereas a lot of times they were just buried or parts of them were buried, and it's nice to see everything a little bit more in the foreground. Really nice guitar sound too. I love it. It sounds like there's a really fast tremolo or something on that second section. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I love the sound of it. And again, like we talked about on Wonderworld, he's riding that frequency line of this could be a really ear-piercing, annoying frequency, but instead they're just dialing it in so perfectly to where it's actually very pleasant instead of feeling like it's drilling into your ears. And I don't know whether that was on the guitar setup side or on the mixing and engineering, EQing side of things. But whatever it was, it sounds fantastic. And I love just that sort of delayed tremolo sound that's on there. Really like what he's playing. I love when guitarists can ride that line that is a very fine line, but just do it so well and always stay on the right side of it. So it sounds good. And speaking of the right side, the guitars are in our right ear this time, which is interesting. They're usually in the left. So that's a little bit different, but yeah, great feeling, great sound, really powerful. And I can't wait to see what happens next. I already know, but I can't wait to see. Okay, well, now it makes a little bit more sense why I'm hearing guitars in the right ear, because there's a second track that comes in the left ear. Really nice playing. I love the two alternating tracks there. They sound really good together. I like that there's two different guitar ideas that work really well with the song. Bass is just grooving, doing its thing. And a really nice vocal delivery. I really like the style on this one, just those word lifts in there. They're so smooth and so pitch perfect. Really like what he's doing. Man, this is so good. I just really love it. It's just such a great rock and roller. You've got the guitar sounds are just perfect. It's got a good low end distortion on it, but at the same time, it's nice and upper mid rangey, which is kind of good because the vocals aren't particularly high in pitch. So the guitars sound a little bit above the vocals in pitch, but it just blends so well. And I love the way that last verse started out with sort of a almost conversational feel to it. Something that I've not heard from Byron before. So that's kind of a nice surprise. It's just like every song, they're finding something new to do. It's not rinse, repeat. It's not, here's how we write a song. It's not formula. It's just, here's how this song came together. And I really like that. It's like bands a lot of times bands will go for something that they've done that's been popular. And they'll say, okay, that's what we need to repeat. We need that success on every album or every single that we release. And so they'll go, okay, what made that song good? Okay, here's the formula. Let's just replicate it. We'll change this and that. We'll do a different riff. We'll do this, but it's basically going to be the same structure. And man, every song is just so unique and independent with Heep that it's just a joyous surprise for every song that you listen to. It's not like you can predict anything with these guys, except that you're probably going to like it. Well, that was just pure fire, wasn't it? You got a really powerful sounding steel guitar in the right. You got the electric guitar in the left. I think this time the electric guitar was a little bit too high in the mix, but overall, and the other thing I have to say about the mix is I could use just a little bit more kick drum, something a little bit punchier to go with those drum fills and to just push the beat a little bit more. But overall, it sounds fantastic. I really love how alive Lee Kerslake is on this song. He's playing some great fills, really active, and not just doing some simple stuff. I just feel like he's unleashed in this song. And I really like that. So yeah, great instrumental section for sure. Love the blend of the guitars too. That's really nice. And just another rich and full song, especially coming off of Return to Fantasy. You kind of wonder, okay, so the opener was rich and full and lush. What's going to happen with the next song? Is it going to drop down to a ballad? Is it going to be something that sounds thinner? But no, this so far, this album has been very powerful.
Now in the morning, as day was dawning, Shady asked me if I'd stay there a while. I said, stay, baby, no way. But I couldn't keep myself from the smile. I said, now no bye-bye, it's going to dry your eyes. That ain't fit for a lady like you. Why not be small and give your life another start? But take care now, whatever you do. Shady lady, I'm on my way. Shady lady, we'll meet again one day. And don't worry, 'cause when we do, I'm gonna make sure that there ain't very much left of you. Ooh, yeah.
I really love the story prose of this. That's something that you hear from time to time, not very often. You hear it more in folk music, I think, but in rock and roll, you hear it occasionally. Alice Cooper has done a little bit of that, but I really like that, she said, I said kind of thing. It adds just a different flavor to telling a story. Instead of just saying, here's what happened, here's all the stuff. It just adds a little bit of a different dynamic. It's good to change things up and tell things from a different angle now and then. And I really like that they did that here. Really strong instrumental sounds as well. And I love that just little sort of offbeat feel coming back into to this last part here. Yeah, just so powerful. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, I love those vocal delays. It just, again, it's another level of interesting sound to hear. It adds just so much more depth to the piece. I'm surprised that they didn't do a little more ping pong delay. Now, what a ping pong delay is, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who do, the sound will ping pong back and forth between the speakers. So you'll hear ow, and then ow in the left ear, and then ow in the right ear, and then ow in the left ear, and ow in the right ear. It's ping ponging back and forth between the speakers. So that could have been interesting to add a little more to it. There was like a slight ping pong, it sounded like, but it was mostly, for me, it was mostly in the left ear. And that's okay. It sounded great as it was. I'm just kind of surprised that that wasn't used. But, it's certainly fine the way it is, not complaining at all. But yeah, such a great and powerful song. And if there was any question at all whether John Wetton was going to be a good bass player for this band, because I'm sure there was plenty of speculation after the loss of Gary Thane, and anybody that would have replaced Gary would have been under heavy scrutiny. There's no doubt about that, especially at the time. People get really attached to lineups. I've noticed. I know that a lot of times when you have somebody who's in a major position, like a guitar player, and that guitar player leaves the band for whatever reason, whatever happens, whoever replaces that guitar player really has, no matter who they are, a lot of times too, they have a really big hill to climb to win the fans over because, they're typically a primary writer if it's a rock song. And not only that, but there's just a certain personality to each and every guitar player that I think people are afraid of how the new person's personality is going to fit in and how they're going to, keep the legacy of the old player, whatever it's going to be. And I know that when Tommy Bolin joined Deep Purple, for example, he was not treated well by a lot of the fans, and he went out there and did his job every night when he wasn't high. And it had to be tough, and so I kind of feel for John Wetton too at this point, because I'm sure it was very difficult for anybody to walk into the position of taking over bass. But he did it. And if there's any question to whether he was a right fit for this band or not, just based on these first two songs that we've heard, I would say he absolutely was. Is he going to play like Gary? No, of course he's not. He's going to play like John Wetton. And he really, I think, fit into this band very well in the time that he was in it. And I think he was a good choice. I don't know who else had been considered or who else auditioned, but I can say honestly, just based on these two songs alone and other songs that I'm familiar with, he definitely was straight on the right choice. So that, guys, is Shady Lady. I'm pretty sure I dated her at some point, or someone that she knows. But it is Friday, guys. You made it. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Do something fun for yourselves. Do something for someone else. It's not that hard to make someone smile. So let's do it. Let's all work together to make this world better and enjoy beautiful music from bands like Uriah Heep. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!